Welcome to another recipe of the Yes to Life show, where we want to share healthy vegan fitness recipes. My name is Samuel, my brother Lucas is behind the camera. And this recipe is also part of the free course that we have on vicoco.com. That's our cooking school. Check it out, link is in the description. But now let's jump to the recipe. So hummus is probably one of the most famous dips out there. And people love it. You can add it to your salad, you can spread it on top of a bread, whatever you like. And vegans especially like it because it's relatively high in protein. But as always, there's a lot of different versions of making hummus. Today we are making a raw hummus made with sprouted chickpeas. So the chickpeas, they haven't been cooked, but we sprouted them. If you want to learn about sprouting chickpeas, check out our other video. If you don't have sprouted chickpeas, of course you can just use the regular ones. So instead of 1 cup of chickpeas, use 1 cup of cooked chickpeas. And hummus really lives from a couple of few key ingredients. So for one, you do have the chickpeas. They add the creaminess, the texture, they give the protein. And then you have tahini, which is a mousse made from sesame. It has a very strong and distinct taste and it adds a lot of flavor. Then we have some garlic. A lot of recipes call for 2 cloves of garlic. I personally like a strong garlic flavor, so I use 3. We have lime juice. That adds some sourness to the whole recipe. And then cumin is very important. It also adds a very strong and rich flavor. And as the last thing, we add olive oil and sea salt. It's actually that easy. That's all the ingredients that you need. So all we actually gotta do is combine all of the ingredients in the blender or in the food processor, depending on what you have. So first, I take the cup of sprouted chickpeas and I'll add it in there. As I said earlier, if you don't have sprouted chickpeas, just use regular cooked chickpeas. Then I add the 3 cloves of garlic. I like to chop them beforehand roughly, but you don't have to do it if you have a strong blender. I just want to make sure that I don't have any garlic chunks left. Now comes the part where we add the tahini, and I always love to add 3 tablespoons for 1 cup of chickpeas. If that's too oily for you, add 2 tablespoons. Some people like the flavor so much they add even more. Take a heaped spoon and put it all in there. And then I add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Some people like to add more, but it's kind of up to you. Now I add the juice of 2 lemons. So I take 2 lemons and I just squeeze them. If you have a tool to press the lemon, that's great. I have one at hand right now, so I use it. But otherwise, you can also just use your hands and squeeze the juice directly into the blender. And now comes the cumin part. Cumin has a really strong flavor, so I advise you to use around 1 heaped teaspoon per 1 cup of chickpeas. If you don't like the flavor that much, use a little less. You can always add more in later. So lastly, I use salt. Salt brings out the flavor of the other ingredients, and of course it also adds saltiness. And I just add a pinch in there. I use Himalayan pink salt, but you can also use sea salt. These are richest in minerals. And now our hummus is probably still a little thick, so we're going to add a little bit more water. It depends on your preferred level of creaminess. The more water you add, the smoother it gets, but the less creamy, of course. So I start with a 1/4 cup, but you can also start with 1/2 cup directly. And now comes the fun part. It's time to blend it all up. So there you go. Hummus is ready. I'd advise you to always start on a low level because then the hummus doesn't jump up the sides of the blender, and you can always up the speed later. And what's cool about hummus is you can add whatever you like to it. For instance, if you want to add a more fruity flavor and a red color, add some beetroot. You make beetroot hummus, it's pretty amazing. Or go for fresh herbs such as parsley and make some green parsley hummus, also really delicious. So now before you scoop it out there, make the taste test and see if you like it, or if you have to add any of the ingredients. Tastes pretty good. I think I'm going to leave it like this and I'm going to scoop it into a bowl, and you can keep it for a few days in the fridge. So there you go. You have a very simple hummus recipe, this time made with sprouted chickpeas, but you can do it with regular chickpeas as well. As always, thanks so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe down below, and hope to see you next time.